Hello, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sending you light and love. Let me get Julissa on here so we can talk to y'all about happiness from within. Where you at, Julissa? I hope everyone is feeling alive and blessed because to be alive is to be blessed, baby. Hello, Ashley. Hello, Dante. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Folks,
So,
go ahead.
Julissa, we have like 60 seconds for folks who are joining us. Although we have some folks already joining in. Ashley, hello. Hello, Dante. Hello, Complex. Hello, Kith.
Hello.
Obviously, hello, the beautiful master expert mental wellness goddess we have on with us today. So I'm excited to talk to Julissa. Julissa and I know each other for many years.
Yes.
And she's like me as a woman, like pretty much. If you know me, you know that I'm all about like good energy, good vibes, sending light and love into the world, having a good time, making sense of this thing called life, manifesting greatness, constantly growing, and just overcoming whatever life throws at you. And in today's day and age, there's a lot of shit being
It's
thrown.
a
So,
lot.
Lisa,
Yeah.
for those of you who know me, you know that we'll talk about me in a minute. I want to talk about Julissa right now. So let's introduce Julissa. Julissa Edwards.
Yes.
She is a
I am a licensed psychotherapist. I have done over 6 years of counseling. I've studied psychology on positive psychology. I love all things positive psychology, all about finding happiness from within, all about being your own self healers. I am also a mindset coach and a positivity expert. So, yes, yeah,
yes, and you emulate that. I watch your videos, and I was like, oh my God, this is definitely like I'm so proud of her. Not only am I proud of her, but she's spitting fire. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all haven't heard of Julissa Edwards, I need to check out her videos. She is spitting truth, light, and love every day, baby, and that's what this world needs more of. So thank you for doing that.
likewise on your end. The reason why me and Eddie connected, so we, like he said, we met years ago, like back in 2012, something around that time, right? And
Mhm.
then we reconnected recently, and it was just like nothing ever changed, right? The first time we met through a mutual friend, Brittany, the vibes were there, the energy was there. We both love the same things, and it's like here we are years later, same thing. We both,
Yes, ma'am. And when we met each other, it was interesting because we were in completely different places in life, right?
yeah,
You just never know. This is why I'm all about building bridges, and I always tell folks you have to make sure that you leave people in a better place than when you found them. If not, at least just be your best self in the moment, right? And
yeah,
and however that plays out. But when I met her through a mutual friend. Shout out to Brittany,
yeah.
and she had come over to a home that was a job at the time. She didn't even know, right? So I'm running like this big time shelter. There's all this stuff going on in the building, and we are all hanging out in the basement, real rough around the edges. We were young. She was in school getting her master's. I was still working out my kinks in life, right? And here we are, so much more refined years later, and I'm like, ooh, I see something
Let's
happening.
reconnect because now we could do something,
Yes, now we got some juice to offer the
right?
world.
Right.
So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Eddie Capone. If you're just tuning in, we're going to be talking about happiness from within today, everything mental wellness, everything positivity and good vibes, right? But I am an author. I wrote a book, happens to be a hit, called The Sun Will Rise in December. I really advise you to check that out. If you've ever felt like you've been through things that are specific to you, if you ever felt like you've been alone, if you've ever been a victim of any kind of violence at the hands of another, if you've ever suffered from any kind of significant hardship and you feel alone, definitely pick up the book because what you will learn is that Eddie the boy is right there with you.
Mhm.
And it is in complete contrast to where I am. So while I have this whole dark negative past as an upbringing, who I am as an adult, thanks to mindfulness, is a certified meditation instructor. I'm also a certified alcohol and substance abuse counselor. I do that part time. I've worked with adolescents. I used to do a podcast. I might be dibbling and dabbling in different things. Julissa and I are talking about maybe a
Yeah.
healing cast coming
Yeah.
up soon. Who knows? And some things for you all. We really want to give you some tools, right? I think ultimately what my mission is just to empower others to find their light and love within.
Absolutely.
Um, and Julissa is on the same mission. So we're going to talk with y'all for the next 40 minutes. We're open to questions. And today, I think we decided we would be talking on self-care,
Wellness.
overcoming adversity, and what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
And
so,
just to,
Julissa, what made you want to get into this work? And I mean, you say you study psychology, and I know for me, upstairs was like, am I crazy growing up? So I studied psychology to make sure I wasn't.
I
And
think
what I found was I probably was a little,
we
but
or we all have, and then we were just talking about this earlier. We all have demons in our past. We all have unfortunate events that have happened to us. And the reality is that if you don't look into it, you can't grow from it, right?
right,
If
right.
you don't reflect in a positive manner, which is why sometimes people go to therapy or through mindfulness or through breath work. There are so many avenues. And this is also the reason why I've now went from your stereotypical clinical practice to an online space as a coach, because you could do you could do so much to heal. And I want to give people all the tools.
Absolutely.
You pick the one that works for you. Some people like therapy, some people like yoga, meditation, breath work, all the things. I'm a big believer, like manifestation, all the things. Just reflect, just think about the unpleasant times, because that's the only way we're going to be able to combat them.
It's absolutely, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think coping skills and tools to overcome these challenges, it's not like a one-stop shop, like you said. Like some things work for some people and some things work for other people. But
Mhm.
also, what works for you today may not work for you tomorrow, right? Or like you don't want to eat the same meal every day sometimes, right? So you may do a little bit of some breath work with a little bit of some therapy, with a little bit of some coaching, with a little bit of some mindfulness, like me, where I just sort of dabble in things. I like physical fitness. So I think when you get your body active, it's one of the tools that we sort of overlook,
Yes.
right? Although I have a big belly, y'all, and I'm looking like I might be carrying some twins because I love to eat. I keep that in balance with it'd be a lot bigger if I didn't work out as much as I do. Um,
I'm all about like body positive too. Like society has brainwashed us in so many ways. So we could talk we could talk about body image, we could talk about what we think is beautiful, pretty, all those things, right? But not to get too deep into that, but just in general, we are being fed through media all the time what we think is ideal, what we think is the perfect body, the perfect way to be healthy, right? There is no perfect way to be healthy.
right, you design that,
You
right?
design that, yes. So
Mhm.
self-love, self-healing is an everlasting journey that can take winds, and it can go anywhere. As long as you stay consistent, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't, did you always feel this way? Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, right, like I felt like I was very insecure, I think.
me too. Me too.
And I think I was always questioning my validity. Something happened through the whole mindfulness and after years of therapy, right? Because I started out with traditional therapy,
Right, right.
and that worked for me for the time that it did. And
Yes.
then as an adult, I'm like, in therapy, when you go to the traditional kind, at least the kind that Medicaid used to pay for, uh, when I have Medicaid, what you
Yeah.
would call it, they would, I would see different doctors, and I think that discouraged me with the therapeutic process because I had to sort of explain the sunrise and the sun. I keep summing it up as this book,
Yeah.
but all of that shit in like
Oh,
these sessions, and it was like over and over, and I'm like, you know what? You know what they're gonna tell you. How does that make you feel? You know what I mean? Like, and reflect it back. And so
therapy.
I studied counseling,
Mhm.
and I sort of just took everything that I got from that and turned it inward, right?
Yeah.
And you're right, body positivity, programming, everything comes from what we think we know about the reality.
Mhm.
And the real miracles start to unfold, or the real reality starts to unfold, if you will, the raw reality, when you center yourself, question things, question why you feel the way you feel
Yeah.
about certain things, right? Why was I feeling so insecure? Why was I feeling like I wasn't worth anything, whereas now I feel like I have so much to offer, right?
Yeah.
um
And a point of like people don't understand too, like we want to be reflective of why we did, why we felt what we felt, and not feel bad about it. For the
yes,
reflection, we want to have that, this is what mindfulness is, right? Have that distance of like, I'm going to look at my past and I'm going to reflect, but I don't necessarily have to like be wallowing or even crying. And I'm not saying crying is a bad thing. I love crying, release the emotions. But when
Yes.
we reflect at our past mistakes or whatever has happened in a proactive manner, look at it like data. Like a science experiment. Why did I do what I did? What was my environment? Where did I learn this behavior from, right? So we can try to understand why we are the way we are so that we can then change it.
Yes, and also don't be harsh on yourself, but also be realistic with yourself. Where did you go wrong? Because we don't do everything right. Sometimes we may have an argument with someone or disagreement, and we brought our stuff to the table, right? And you said something earlier that was significant. And we're like touching a bunch of gems now. My mind is like, go here, go there. But
in my head.
So, why we think the way we think, right? And mindfulness, and you're absolutely right. Mindfulness is really literally, folks, I think people associate this with like walking on water, being a guru, hiding in the mountains somewhere, connecting with nature. All of that is a part of it to an extent. But really, anybody, you're your own guru. You can sit down, center yourself, and listen to the thoughts that passed. A lot of people have misunderstandings about, I'm sure, therapy. Which maybe you can cover better than I, and mindfulness. And some of the things I think for mindfulness, for me, meditation, I have seen at least with our people. When I say our people, I'm talking about people of color, Black and Latino people from the hood, right? Although you started from the bottom, now we're here, so you're not in the hood no more.
Right.
So I'm working on it, y'all. Working on it. We're live from the Bronx. But so if you hear somebody calling for Tita in the back, I'm still in the Bronx, y'all. Excuse it. So anyway, I would say with mindfulness, right? It is really the practice of listening to the thoughts as they arise. There's a lot of misunderstandings or sort of beliefs, I would say, about meditation. The inability to meditate is a big one. I can't meditate because my thoughts won't stop racing. I can't meditate because I can't stay still. Guess what? There's movement meditation. There's yoga, right? I don't like to close my eyes. Guess what? You don't have to close your eyes. I can't meditate. Guess what? My 5-year-old nephew can meditate. You can do it. Right? Racing thoughts? Okay. That's okay. That's a part of the process. Feeling uncomfortable and wanting to move? That's okay. It's part of the process. Right?
The intention of being intentional, as long as you have the idea that, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it might be hard, but I know that over time it might get easier. Or, so I can walk and meditate. When I go on my morning walks or afternoon walks and I want to center myself again, I'm utilizing my meditation is also being present, simply being present, right? So I can walk and I can say like, God, so in love with the trees in my neighborhood. Oh my God, I love the smell of these leaves on the ground crunching when it's fall season. Oh my God, I love the brisk smell of like fresh, clean air. The smell of rain after it has just rained and it's on a hot summer day. Like all those things being present.
Yes.
Meditation is being mindful.
Absolutely. And it's the practice, it's like a muscle. So like initially, right, when I first sat down, I couldn't stay still. I was like, I felt anxious, right? And there's these things called craving and aversion, right? Where you're wanting something to be present in the moment that isn't there, and you're wanting to change something from what it is. And the reality is simply noticing that, right? And then going, look, you're being anxious. You want to move, right? Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sorry, we're passionate here. We're live. Oh, wow. We have King of Art, activist Ricardo, Dakaro, Alfredo, Fritito, Mali, Leharley. This is Jay Cali, Robert. Hello. Okay, everyone. I can't pronounce it all, but hi. So, yeah, my meditation and mindfulness is simply the practice of being present in the moment. What does that mean? That means that noticing you're in this moment right now, and every moment that comes forward, noticing thoughts, feelings, and emotions that arise in your body, in your mind, right? And not judging them, not becoming involved in them, but simply noticing them, right?
Yes.
How many people are out in I'm in New York, and you're from New York, Julissa, so riding the train. How many people are out here carrying a chip on their shoulder and they don't even know? It is everyone else and everything else but them.
Yes.
Right?
You're looking at everything. And even within that, looking outward, you can still be mindful of that. If you're looking at someone who has like crazy, like red or purple hair, and you're like, what the hell are they looking at? Ask yourself, why are you asking yourself that question? Why do you care so much about what they're doing with their hair? Like, it's that simple. Like, just be inquisitive. Be curious as to why your brain goes to the places that it goes.
Yeah. Who taught you those things? Who taught you that red or purple hair was bad?
It was bad.
Right? Right. What is bad? Right? What is good? Right? And we know some things. There are some things that we just know are bad because they cause harm to others or to ourselves. Right? And I think that's the one thing where I personally have been learning recently in my level of practice, which we'll talk about practice in a minute too, because I love that. I have a nice little acronym for y'all. It's like my moral value system, my core value, right? But practice is simply noticing these things, right? And I just had a whole blank moment. This happens to me when I get super excited sometimes. But so noticing the feelings and thoughts and emotions that you have is a muscle, right? And when you ask yourself why you're feeling these things, you start to get to the root of the reason why. And a lot of these things, and you can agree with me or not, Julissa, come from our childhood, right? So a lot of the thoughts, feelings, beliefs that we have are self-limiting beliefs, thoughts and behaviors that were learned, that were taught to us, and that were absorbed, right? First 7 years of your life, you're in like theta state, right?
Oh, yes. Before you go into theta state, because I know you have good information to drop. I always say we are a product of our genetics, our environment, our culture, and our upbringing.
Yep.
That's how we came to be. That's who we are. That's how we think. But yes, go ahead for your theta. Yes.
No, you're absolutely right. And you said something else. Theta state takes us to where we are. Something else that's before we even get there, right? Our society structures us when we're growing up. So these two sort of go together. Theta state teaches us there are 4 states of the mind that we're usually in. The one that I want to focus in on is theta now because it's relevant to what we're talking about. And that's the absorption period, right? Where you're the first 7 years of your life, you're in theta state. You're not in active thinking and critical thinking mode. You haven't developed those skills yet. You are just simply absorbing the world for what it is. If I tell you no is no, then you're going to learn no is no. And there is no questioning that because you don't have the tools or the resources yet to be able to do that. Your functioning is not there, right? Yes. But what we do learn is be careful. Don't do that. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't do that. Girls don't do that. Boys don't do that. Right? You don't act like that in public.
Yes, the don't do this, don't do that. It doesn't even have to be said that way. It's what your parents do. It's how your parents act. So we do this and we don't do that. Well, we can do this, but we would never do that, right? And it's just implied. Social learning is implied. Yes.
And every one of our families, no matter how pretty, no matter how well dressed up, and no matter how educated and how much money we think will make it all go away, have a giant elephant in the middle of the room. I call it the big pink elephant, right? Yeah. It's not right. It's pink. It should be gray. But we're all gonna dance around this. And by the way, there's a big giant elephant here. Nobody's talking about it, right? It's like the family system. We all have our rules, we all have our roles, and we all have our boundaries that we're taught. And what is for your family system is not universal, right? So you grow up thinking your way of life is the way. And then you're exposed to the world and you realize that there's so many other ways. And it becomes, I think for some people, ego gets involved and we become sort of purveyors of our ego until we realize that our egos are not really serving us. That's not really like a happy life, right? It's just our egos are more of a protective mechanism.
Our ego is shouting like, no, I don't like feeling this way, so I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to look at it. And if you come at me, I don't like that either, so I'm just going to be defensive. Like, that's ego. Yeah. And then let's talk about memory, right? So you spend the first 7 years in theta state. By the way, when you wake up for approximately the first 15 minutes, depending on your own cognitive functioning system and practices, you're in theta state. And then before you go to sleep, you're in theta state. So the good news that I always tell people who feel like life has just served them a big ball of shit and had no hope is that there is hope. Yeah.
There is hope. And the reality is that you have those 15 minutes before you wake up, before you fully wake up, and those 15 minutes before you go to sleep to rehack, reprogram your subconscious mind. The one that's driving the car, the one that's telling you to think, judge, and feel all those things that don't serve you
Yeah.
can be undone. It takes work, it takes practice, right?
Mindfulness. Hmm.
Mindfulness, absolutely. Becoming aware. So that's the first step, right? Is to acknowledge that everything is practice. And practice is practice. Practice, right? Practice. So it's patiently repeating altruistic challenges to inspire core excellence.
I
Let me say
love.
that one more time.
I can say that.
Patience, have patience with yourself and others. Repeat doing things over and over again. Siri, mind your business, Ho. I'm not talking to you. And sorry, I hate when she interrupts. And altruism, right? The reality that what you're going through, although you may feel it is specific to you and nobody understands you, is not true. This is a human experience, and there are millions, if not billions, of other people going through similar circumstances in their own human experience. So patient repeat altruistic challenges, right? Challenges are not, it wouldn't be a challenge if it was easy to do, right? Some of us are defeated by that, having to do the work, right? So the challenge is to inspire, right? To feel motivated, your
Yes.
core excellence, the stuff that is in the very center of you, that
Love.
is the best of you,
I love.
right?
Yes, and you mentioned two good. The more they all stood out, but the two that stood out is the patience within itself. Like, be patient. It took you years to think this way. It took you, your whole life to be the way you are. What makes you think that in a couple of weeks you're going to be completely opposite or different? And we still want to value who we are, but we just want to be our best selves, the best
Yes.
version of ourselves. And then you also mentioned, the challenge, the C part, right? Like, this is going to be a challenge. You are literally going to look from within, admit your biases, admit your unhealthy behaviors. Awareness is key. That's the first part. It's not pretty. Then you start to feel real guilty. And I don't like that either, right? I like to think about our past in a proactive manner. If you do this sometimes without guidance, right, you tend to feel very horrible, guilty.
You
So
go negative. Yeah, we're programmed that way. Our society has taught us to just go down with it. You
yeah,
shouldn't have done that. There's regret, right? And there's is being hard on yourself and just feeling like crap, right? And going down this endless sort of spiral into depression. But
yes,
but that's where the mindfulness comes in, is noticing those feelings that come up
yeah,
and then rejecting them.
yes.
Or shifting them, accepting those thoughts. You're human. It's okay to feel things that you feel.
Yeah.
Now, does this feeling serve you and expand you and grow you, or is this feeling diminishing your very soul? Like, is it killing your life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so choose to dance with the energy that grows you.
Yeah. You know what you said too about the past, about the depression thing. So I always tell my clients, my friends, my family, a really simple way to understand. So I'm big on depression and anxiety within my practice, right?
Yes.
And we categorize it with feeling sad, lonely, hopeless, which is the truth. And
Hmm.
being nervous, crazy rattle brain, like never being able to pick on one thing. That's me, right? But the truth of it is that depression is really, they're both thought disorders, and the issue is that we're not being mindful, we're not being present, because depression focuses on the past, guilt,
Yes.
remorse, shame, regret,
Absolutely. Yes. And anxiety focuses on the future.
on the future. Exactly. So how do we heal from those things? You stay present. We
Yes.
stay present so that we can proactively look at the past and the future without nervousness, without shame, without guilt.
And my uncle told me when I was a kid, I think I'm going to put this on one of my little leche memes. When you do nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about, right? So if you operate from a place of love and
Yeah.
not from fear, then you're coming from such a solid foundation that no matter what you do, if you do your best, and you have no regrets, right?
Mhm.
But I talk to people about this all the time. People are like, but what about this issue I'm facing and that issue I'm facing? And I say to them, can you just stop for a second and notice your breath and notice my face and notice the environment we're in
Yeah.
and notice that at this very moment, you're not experiencing that problem.
Correct.
You have that issue on your list of issues that you're sort of cycling in your mental space.
Yeah.
And this may be a really valid thing. I don't want anyone to ever feel like I'm taking away from what you're going through. What you're going through may be legit, real, hardcore shit, right? I give you that. But I also challenge you to notice how much manifesting of negative energy that situation is bringing you.
Yes.
How much are you focused on that issue that you're not noticing how beautiful the weather is, or how blessed you are to be alive, to be able to have the privilege of experiencing adversity.
Yes, yes. And how adversity can make you stronger. Our hardships only make us stronger. If we are alive past traumas, we're here for a reason.
Yes.
Let's reflect, let's educate, let's move forward and live a life of happiness, abundance. All those things Eddie, you're a perfect example of that. Perfect example of that.
Thank you. I'm working on it, and it's a daily thing. Listen, I want y'all to know too. I don't think that I'm better than anyone. I don't think that I've arrived. I don't think anyone ever arrives. So I want it to be known that I practice every day. Practice I've already explained, and now I figured I've created that as a sort of guide to leche, if you will, right? Because I'm a gay man and I'm provocative, and that's just going to be what it is. But Leche is not provocative. Leche is love, energy, community, healing, and empowerment, right? And if you patiently repeat altruistic challenges to inspire core excellence, you will find yourself filled with love, energy, community, healing, and empowerment. And it is, one of my mentors, Balor Su, she's a Sufi, right? And those are folks who don't really practice mindfulness so much. They practice heartfulness. And if you follow... right? There are studies that have been done, scientific studies that have validated these things. The mind and the body emanates energy from different energy points, right? And you can look at that on EEGs and things, brainwave scans and stuff. And the mind has but such a field that it touches, but the heart has such a bigger field, right? And this is why we see people in effed up relationships that for us it's like a no-brainer. Why are you in that relationship? And that's our mind being conscious, but their heart is keeping them in that relationship because love is much stronger than the mind, right?
Go ahead. I love education. The more you know, the better you will be. Like what you're saying, it's just lighting up so many different pathways in my so much sense. And the more you know, because psychology and psychotherapy talks about that as well, but just in a different format. I haven't heard it the way that you said it. It makes complete sense. And again, the more you know, the more you can connect and move forward in life. But keep going.
Absolutely, yes. So the point of what I was saying was, she always used to say to me, in order for you to be happy, you have to cry. And I never understood that. And I would just it would almost rub me wrong sometimes. And I love you to death, Balor, you're the best. She taught me so much, but she said, your heart has to break in order for the energy to flow from it. And I didn't understand what that meant. But what it means is like you said earlier, Julissa, you can't grow without challenges. Challenges grow you, and they bring out the best version of you or the worst version of you. And this is where mindfulness comes in, right? How we handle situations as they come. But in order for you to be happy, you must be heartbroken, because then you understand what it's like to be happy.
Right? All the time. Yes, you have. This is in the world there is good and bad. We cannot know the good unless we know the bad, right? Right. Oh my God, there's this theory called happiness theory, right? And it's just pretty much the same thing that you're saying, Eddie. And it's from evolutionary psychology, and it explains, a bunch of evolutionary psychologists came together and they were like, why the hell do emotions exist? You know, if we're coming from an evolutionary standpoint, when we need to procreate, to have sex, all you need is a man and a woman. That's all you need. You don't need emotion. You could be depressed and have a baby. You could be happy and have a baby. So why are emotions there? Right? And they explain that the reason why they are there is because emotions let us know how we're doing in life. If we are sad, if we feel unaccomplished, we feel like we're not doing it, we feel bad for what's happened in the past. When
they're indicators for your mapping.
Yes, They are indicators for your mapping, yes, right? So if we're happy, excited, joyful, we're in a good place. And that doesn't matter whether you've experienced hardships or you're just a pleasant, happy-go-lucky person, like you feel good. So in life, happiness equates to I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm filled with life, all the things, right? And they are both needed because we can't be happy forever. That would be robotic. That would be unreal. We have
Yeah.
to hardships in order to come back. So we want to be on this meter of an up and down, more highs than lows, but the lows are so needed to
Yeah.
go higher.
Yes. And you know, I think making it relevant to today and why there's so much bias, right? I think bias is very self-defeating, and I'm going to explain to you why. And the level of practice that I'm at now, and I'm still exploring this, is hard. It's not, I'm not going to say it's hard. It's been a little bit of a challenge for me, initially at least, but I'm getting better at it. Is to see yourself as whomever it is that you don't like, right? To see yourself as the dog walking down the street, to see yourself as and it even gets deeper, which I'm not, I'll be honest with you, I'm just not there yet. I can't see myself being the car. I don't get that yet. But I can understand the empathy aspect to the lesson, and that is to understand that everyone is a valid part of this experience. Imagine us all being on like this giant motherboard that is Earth, and we're all little components to the big computer system, right? For an analogy. Every one of us counts. Every one of us matters. We all have something to bring to the table. We are all here to teach each other lessons and to learn from one another and grow. And every single person has something you can learn from them, right? Regardless of what they look like or where they come from. What they look like and where they come from is what we were conditioned to judge, right? And when you notice that and you remove the judgment from it, what you'll find is a lot of the times you were judging these people because they remind you a little bit about you. Something about them reminds you about something about you that you don't like about yourself.
Yes. Oh my God. When you bully concept 101, when you find it in your heart, in your soul to pick on somebody else, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why can't you just let them be? There's something within inside of you that you don't like that is being reflected in that person, right? If you have self-conscious about your hair, and I'm like, oh my God, my hair is so busy today, it's so ugly. When I walk out my door, I'm going to be subconsciously judging everybody else's hair for comparison reasons because I'm self-conscious, right? Deanna said mirroring, right? Because I'm self-conscious. And so then it comes from inferior, but then I'm also going to be judging them. Oh, they're
Yes.
ugly. Look at that red hair. Look at that purple hair. So ugly. Why do you care? Do you
Notice it. Notice it. Notice what you're doing. How does it serve you?
How does this?
All it is, it's negative. At the end of the day, it's negative. It's not making you feel better. It's frustrating you, right? That person has no idea. They're just happy with their purple hair or whatever it is, right? They're in their mind like, I'm killing it with my purple hair. And you over there like, ugh, purple hair. Dying inside with all that toxic stuff that's flowing through you, right? So like, let it go. Notice it, right? And cheer people on. I think now when I get frustrated with folks, like, I'm not gonna lie, you know, growing up in the streets, I was taught that that's a bad thing to be hanging out on the corner, right? And this is something that I've adapted to my own. I don't hang out on the corner. I don't want to hang out on the corner because hanging out on the corner is not going to take you anywhere in life, right? But that doesn't mean that the people who do hang out on the corner don't have lives. It doesn't mean that they don't do things as well. They don't take trips, and if they don't have something valuable to offer society. Now, if they're selling drugs or something, that's a whole other deal. That's to each his own. Yeah. But the point of this is that why is it that when we're in, like, say, a Caucasian community downtown and a few white folks are sitting on their stoop, that's okay. They're just hanging out. That's not a bad thing.
Where's that unconscious bias? Where did we learn that? Why do we think that way, right? America is the world, actually, but America in particular is going through a great awakening, you know.
Okay.
About being uncomfortable. Talk about learning about your unconscious bias. If you find yourself being defensive, ask yourself why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you find yourself not understanding how there are layers to this shit, right? And I mean, I said this recently, and I'll say it again because it's relevant. I'm a Latino male. I'm white, right? But I am Latino, and my tattoos and the way that I speak and conduct myself at times shows where I come from, right?
Right.
And I have been judged by so many people that it's been harder as an author, right? Being a self-published author from the Bronx,
Right.
having an address in the Bronx for
Mm.
jobs, trying to cash large checks in the Bronx has had the police called on me, right? So
Mm.
because no, you can't have a
That's
$24,000 check, Eddie Pabon. You're a
right.
Latino male on Pelham Parkway in the Bronx. You know what she said to me? That honestly, the attendant at the Bank of America said, no, and put it right back under the check right back. And I handed it back to her, and I'm like, that's my check. I'm a customer here. Put it in my account. They call fraud. They call the cops. So I know what bias is, right? And it feels like shit. And it makes you angry. And it makes you want to fight. And it makes you like it makes you feel like no, everything is not okay. And everyone is just going about their business, but I'm being discriminated against, and this is not right. And
Correct.
so when I say that I kind of understand what it's like, I'm saying I've had my own experiences. Now I can't even imagine what it feels like to turn that heat all the way up
Up. Yes.
and go from birth and being taught to be careful when you're playing outside. I saw a video that broke my heart recently when a little black boy was playing basketball on his front porch
I
and the police were passing by and he hid behind a car.
And not for nothing, you could that he was in somewhat of a good neighborhood, right? It wasn't the hood. He had a basketball hoop in his driveway. There was nice
Mhm.
parks around,
But he understood the nature of the system in the world that he lives in. And that is just,
and that is sad. That is
it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. Absolutely. Talking about this, so if you guys haven't heard, I do free group therapy sessions for the month of June every Friday, 12 p.m.
Right, so right after this, tune in.
Yeah. So DM me if you want to be a part of it. It's for my Black community. White allies are always welcomed to be further educated. Today's topic is going to be PTSD slavery, a term coined by Dr. She is a Black author, social scientist. She is amazing, but we're going to be talking about that today and all that me and Eddie have just been talking about because it's what's relevant today. It was what was relevant 100 years ago, 300 years ago, and it's still happening. But I truly believe that this time is going to be different because we're just on a roll with this and we're keeping it pushing because all these unconscious biases and something that Eddie pointed out too, like, yeah, so us being Latinos, right? And me being of color, but being of light complexion, right? And colorism, like the darker that you get on the scale, the more injustices you face, right? So
Yep.
if we have had our own biases and injustices, we can only imagine what people of darker complexions have faced. I mean, terrible,
Yeah.
absolutely
And
terrible.
so it's justified. I mean, it's justified rage, it's justified frustration, it's justified anger, it's justified outrage, I'd say. I at first I was like, why are people looting? And then I heard, folks defending, this is not ours anyway. We pay for this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna judge. I'm not gonna have a feeling about it. Express yourself. Let it go. I will say this. I will say, they expect the reactions that we give them. I think that the governments that control the world know our psychological patterns. They know how to tick us, and they know how to divide us.
But
And I think the best way to really bring it on in, folks are always like, we need to make them pay for our communities. We need to break down their doors. We need to destroy them. And I'm like, how about we become them? How about we, not them and their principles, but we take over. You want better criminal justice system, become a representative in the criminal justice system and be the light that you wish to
yeah,
see in that system.
yeah,
I met a judge in one of my speaks that said that he was going to be criminal justice, but when he heard me talking about growing up foster care and read my book, he decided to switch to family court because he wants to help kids.
yeah,
And so being the light you wish to see, the change you wish to see in the world is the key. I think as a community, we're so divided.
yeah,
And we need to just unite. And that comes from first doing the work on an individual level. Because then when you're your best self, you have
yeah,
something really solid to bring to the table and that is sound and that is almost unshakable,
yeah.
right? Because when you can notice your feelings, you can notice,
You have
okay, there's my rage into something powerful in the form of a statement, a video, a protest, something healthy, right? I am not sure if we lost Julissa. I don't want to lose Julissa. No, Julissa, don't go. Where is she? She's coming back on now. Technology just killing the vibe, but we're gonna get right back into it, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and being patient. I lost you. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. The last thing I heard was yes, understanding your emotions, healing from within so that you can have more control over them, right? So that you can know better and move forward in the right direction.
Absolutely. I think we don't have much more time. It's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. We are at 38 minutes in. Interesting. I knew this would happen. So I wanna open it up to y'all who have any questions. Definitely ask us if you have anything to say. We appreciate your feedback. I am not. You don't have any questions, I'm assuming, Anthony?
He might have said something before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start projecting the negativity. Absolutely. Mirroring. We got that. Hello, everyone. So today we were just talking about a lot, actually.
We're talking about a lot, and this is why me and Eddie wanted to come together. So as we wrap up, please throw your questions in there. But me and Eddie wanted to come together because we're so alike. We share so many similar perspectives, viewpoints, and we know that coming together as a united front will be so much more effective than what we're doing in our single platforms. And we're still doing bomb things within our single platforms, but we know that coming together, two brains is better than one, and we can make so much more change. So yeah,
you're absolutely right. And to speak to that, like you're saying, and to speak to it, almost speaks to the point we're trying to make overall, which is being mindful of your energy, right? And a part of that is to be mindful of the energy that you keep in your company. Each of us, I call us little light balls, right? So if you ever want to, my little analogies there, we're all little light balls, and we spread that light, and it can be heavy or it can be light, right? And those are good and bad energies, but we're constantly receiving and transmitting information. So to be aware of the information you're receiving from the people that you surround yourself with. And I say that because a lot of our family members and friends, without us even really realizing it, can be toxic. And we sort of love them so much that we don't really acknowledge that or realize how that affects us. So I would challenge you to, when someone calls you, for example, a little exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, when you see that name on the caller ID, see what feelings come through for you, right?
Good question. Yeah.
Because then you know whether or not this is someone that is bringing you positive vibes or toxicity. Okay? I'm not gonna lie. I have certain family members that when they call, I just know.
You just feel a certain type of way.
And I'm just like, I love you. I'm just afraid to answer this call because I'm in a good mood and I don't want to shift.
In totality of full circle, what we're talking about, right? To heal from within is to love from within. And if these are family members that are causing you some type of uncomfort, you want to keep them in your inner circle, have healthy boundaries. So we won't pick up the phone right now. Maybe later when I'm in a better space.
Yes.
Yes. So we could keep talking for hours. Let me shut up.
Yes. So remember, keep good company. Most importantly, your own company is the one that you have to deal. It's the energy that you have to dance, if you will, while you're not around anyone else. This is the 24/7 energy that is you. And so when you do the work, then you start to feel better. And then you just start to feel happy from within. Yeah. Everything you feel comes from within you. When you feel hate, when you feel love, when you feel happy, when you feel sad, it all comes from you. A lot of us, and myself included, they'll be like, they get me mad. They get me upset. And the thing is, that may be true. Yeah. They did that. They triggered you. But guess what? The trigger comes from in you. So this is where that whole analogy of pointing the finger and three pointing back at you comes in. Anytime that you're feeling something and you're going they, you're three reasons why you should probably check in with you first, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people may make you feel something or your judgment system may come up with something for you, but you don't have to dance that energy. You don't have to speak that hate that comes up. You don't have to even acknowledge it. You can actually go, look, you're getting pissed off. Do you want to get pissed off? It's this weird, crazy process now in my head where I check in
Yes, talk to your brain, talk to your mind as if it is something separate from within you, right? Like, hey, brain, why do you feel that way? Hey, heart, why do you feel that way? What's coming up for me? How can I channel this in a different way so that I can become?
Yes.
And what you said, this is why we are meant to like do things like this. I'm going to be releasing a video today on the importance of self-love so we can decrease hatred. If we truly love ourselves, well, there's no room to hate on other people because just live your life. Do
And
you?
remember, yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right. We're all brothers and sisters. I think of it this way. Think of us as we're all family members. You know, I have poor reference because I'm in the Bronx, y'all, so bear with me. But you know, the crackhead down the street, that's my sister. Like
Yeah.
that's my brother. And so you can't judge people. You have to understand that what they're going through is their own system. I see some questions here,
Yeah.
and I wanted to address them, but just treat people the way you would wish to be treated. If for some reason you happen to become a crackhead one day, right? And these are really bad extremes, but I just want to say, like, you never know what life throws at you, and they're coping the best that they can with what they know. And a lot of people who are taught these coping mechanisms, we may be judging people and thinking, oh my God, all they do is smoke crack all day. But guess what? Mommy and daddy were smoking crack when they were conceived,
Why they're
and they
drinking.
were raised around it. You know, you just don't know. You know what I mean? I'm giving one example, but this is where the mindset comes from and the behaviors. They're learned, they're programmed, theta state, right? Like what we spoke about earlier. So questions folks have. If we have any questions in the future, how can we get in contact with you two? Do you hold spaces for this conversation elsewhere? Julissa has a thing today at, was it 11 or 12?
I have a 12 p.m. free group therapy session that I'm doing for the month of June, so that we can help move forward in the right direction. Knowledge is power, knowledge is key. So today we're going to be talking about PTSD slavery. If you want to be a part of that conversation, DM me. I do little mini like process interviews just to make sure that we have the right energies that are going into this group. So if you want to be a part of it, DM me. We'll chat after this live, and I will send you the link there. And then
Yes.
also going to be holding these kind of conversations every Friday for the next 4 Fridays.
Yes. So by July 20th ish, which is my birthday, by the way, I have a feeling the universe has something in store for me. I will be we'll be celebrating 4 weeks of that. So we'll be ending in the middle of July, but we won't be. I don't think we'll be ending this discussion. I think this discussion will just be taken elsewhere. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of the time, folks are charging lots of money for the things that we have to offer, and justifiably so. People like us have to eat as well, right? We have bills to pay just like you. So while
Yeah.
we love to do these things from the heart, we can't always do them for free. Fortunately for you, we do have very big hearts, and we know what it's like to start from the bottom. Now we're here,
Yeah.
so we are offering the light and love that we have to offer you completely free via these lives for 4 sessions, and we'll see where we go from here. Definitely the podcast, like you should start a podcast together. We were
And
considering this.
we're doing.
So from your mouth to God's ears, the universe ears, whatever you identify with, Anthony. I appreciate the positivity. I appreciate everybody coming in and supporting today. Julissa has the group that she's doing at 12 o'clock. Definitely tune into that. We're going to be coming on Fridays together. I do Sunday morning meditations guided. I'll be doing them 2 more Sundays. So I've done them already for the last 3 or 4 Sundays. It's a big commitment to constantly be like coming on these videos, right? And everything in balance. I do need to recharge my energy, and I'm 24/7 sort of responding to all of you online. So I love y'all. You know, don't hesitate to reach out, but it is a little bit overwhelming at times, and so I need to scale back a little bit. And me and Julissa will probably be doing either a podcast or some Zooms or a combination, some
Yeah.
retreats. Oh, which brings me to where I'm going with it, right? Yes, retreats. If you are interested in getting a hike in with nature and having a guided meditation with myself, I've partnered with an organization called Outer There. They do trips every weekend. So if you want to leave the house, which most of us are like over it already with this whole indoors thing, then definitely if you're in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, then reach out to Outer There. Check out the trips they have. We are hosting a mindfulness hike meditation series June 27th, and we'll have more dates to come. So I hope to see you there. Come out with us. We'll be social distancing responsibly, but we'll also be talking about gratitudes and wellness and interacting with people from all walks of life. in taking in nature, recentering, refocusing, and the last one went really really well. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Final piece from me, and I'll shut up because I always have a lot going on and I never say it all. LecheWeAre.com. It is a community of love, energy, community, healing, and empowerment, right? It's an empowerment collective. If you want to dance more of this energy, it is a free platform. There are monthly giveaways. You're automatically entered as a member. So join. You have nothing to lose. You might win a prize in 1 month. But we'll be doing events like this with the Mindfulness Hike. Leche We Are is all about free resources for people who are committed to self-help and becoming better.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes. Pour into yourself before you can overflow into others. Yes, honey.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes. 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 So good.
So we
So
will see you next Friday.
yes. Yes, we will be here together. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. We clearly cannot shut up. So we're gonna wrap it up. And we will see you guys next Friday, right, Eddie? We'll do the same thing next Friday.
Yes. We'll see y'all next Friday for the next 4 Fridays. And our cups never run dry, baby. Never run dry, Anthony. We're always available to you because we are doing the work. We're practicing. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. What were you gonna say, Julissa?
Just if they have questions that they want to like ask for the next session, DM us. I'll put it on my story. You'll put it on your story, like a little question box, so that we can just receive the questions and save them for next week.
Okay, perfect. Yes, and then I'll be I'm gonna post this up on everywhere. So if you're watching this video or if you're just tuning in like I see for folks who are just tuning in, we just had an epic discussion. Wait for the live to go up on the stories, and definitely watch the video because we got some golden nuggets in there that I think could really help you to overcome whatever adversity you're facing at this point in life. So remember, if you're stressed out right now, that's okay. Just notice it. Bring yourself back. Tune into a meditation. Contact Julissa for some therapy. Contact me for some guided meditation. Whatever you have to do.